is it for SKT. 10 seconds for this third ban here in this first phase of the draft. It is Gragas, though, one of the strongest top laners we've seen in Canopy Flex as well.
Yeah, it's one of the things Haunters would think to have the most success on. As much as Haunter has grown in the ability to play carries, TSM still feel the best when Haunter is on tanks, with Maokai and Nautilus being nerfed. Gragas is kind of the top tier in the tank role, so Gragas is a smart ban for SKT.
Especially when we look at the last like 10 or 20 games that Haunter has played, the only carry champion that really popped his head up was Camille. And she has been nerfed and gutted, especially in the melee versus range matchups on this patch. He played Kennen yesterday and we saw TSM play around it, but it was still not enough.
Yeah, agreed. I think that is definitely an option they have, but the Kennen early is still a dangerous pick. I'm interested that they also banned the Karma, really not wanting to give that over, and they're going to have to take their chances against Peanuts Lee Sin.
And the awkward thing here is, what trade do they make now that they've given up the Lee Sin? Because they pretty much saw this coming. TSM can have 7 seconds for this first pick.
I feel normally in drafts you go AD carry and jungle here, so you go for an Elise maybe to match the aggression. Maybe if you're comfortable playing Kha'Zix, but I'd love to see a practiced Elise here from Svenskeren.
Yeah, Elise could definitely work, or Kha'Zix, because those are kind of the main junglers you pick, a lot of the AD things. I feel like it's interesting that they go with the Varus instead of the Ashe, since so many teams have prioritized Ashe exceedingly highly this tournament.
It helps you in lane though. Varus is a slight lane edge over Ashe in my opinion, so if you're already behind in the early game, you're not going to win, so you need to just boost everything you can early on and hope you get the snowball if you're on the TSM side.
Well, quick picks for SKT. Rumble back for Hoonies. Also bad times for the top half of the map. They're very strong, and actually Tahm Kench locked in quite early here.
Yeah, it does expose you. If you're playing, they probably want to play Ashe later on, but then obviously maybe a Tahm Kench ban away is rough. Maybe this forces TSM now to ban out the Ashe in the second phase, but whenever people have tried to squeeze Bang, it really has not worked out.
No, and they're kind of opting in pretty early to this melee support world. They banned the 2 supports. They also have potential jungle pinches if they didn't have early jungle picks. So a bit of a different support game. You're not seeing anything strange like a Nami or a Bard. They don't want to get pinched out in that here, and they're saving their solo lane picks for the second phase.
But most supports really have deep champion pools, which means you can leave that pick for later. You can actually just straight up counter pick your top lane matchup. When you're going up against a Rumble, there are picks like a Fizz or a Gled, but Haunter has never shown a good Fizz performance. I don't even think he's picked it. He shied away from it a lot in playoffs, so I would have loved way more to see maybe a Fizz top here or a Gled, you know, dumpster that Rumble matchup.
Well, SKT are starting to ban away some top laners. Galio taken by them. TSM do go with the bot lane strategy of banning out the Ashe there. I don't know if they'll go for a second AD here. Maybe afraid of something like Bang's Ezreal, but kind of have to stick to the plan.
The problem is if you ban Ashe, usually you're like, okay, let's ban Ashe and Caitlyn and we get the strongest like poke lane dominant champ. But then you force Bang on Ezreal, and you remember in the late game why you don't give Bang Ezreal.
Well, there's Lucian, so kind of splitting the difference on all those different bot laners here. SKT, we'll see what they respond with.
Yeah, this is interesting. I feel like they can continue to throw bans at top lane if they so choose. Fizzban would leave open Kennen, so they go with the Kennen ban since they don't want to have, you know, the one thing TSM succeeded with so far as the tournament was the push priority on Kennen.
Definitely agree there. He showed a good Kennen performance. Now we need to see if Haunter actually practiced the Fizz, because that could surprise SKT, because I almost feel like Fizz is worthy of being banned over Galio, but of course, if he never really shows it, they can reveal it here.
Well, TSM gonna have to show a top lane pick. Could be a tank here for this final pick. Maybe rough in lane, but if he can get through it, should be okay for the team-wide impact. Shen is gonna get locked in here for TSM.
Not a fan.
Crepo shaking his head. Shen's going to have a really hard problem with the push up against Rumble, and that can really enable Peanut to do a lot of early invades and kind of take over that side of the map. So pretty dangerous pick there with Shen, although they're trying to go for the safety of it.
Yeah, if you're a team that relies on playing very heavily around topside to find your success in TSM, and you're making a pick that already was a bit of an annoying matchup on 7.6, now with the additional Shen nerfs, I feel SKT is really going to outperform TSM's topside, and that has been their step to success.
Well, there's the Twitch over for Bang, and there's actually an Orianna. So Becky kind of challenging Bjergsen. He's saying, you can take Syndra if you want it. It's a matchup that I'm happy to compete with you in. I don't think there's the prize here, though. I think Bjergsen's going to play one of his signature picks here. Syndra should be the lock-in, and TSM going to finish their draft.
Yeah, save until the counter pick so that Faker can't pull something like Echo into it. That is always the fear, or even a Fizz if they wanted to. The Orianna is Faker's most played champion of all time, so it is definitely something every good mid laner should be comfortable with, but Syndra is advantaged in this matchup.
Yeah, one of the saving graces is that this game is likely going to be played on 2 lanes, both teams running more of a 4-1 composition rather than a 1-3-1, meaning you don't have to juggle 2 side lanes all too often, and maybe you can fight your way out that is something where TSM has a lot of strength in their team fight. If you look at what all these champions brings in terms of CC, potential to engage, and how they work together, TSM could win team fights.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have Shen. SKT doesn't have a top lane tank. The tankiest guy that's going to be on SKT is either going to be Wolf or Peanut, and that is not comparable to a 3 or 4 tank item Shen. The problem that TSM could run into later on in the game in team fights is the inability to reliably get to Bang's Twitch, who can actually wreck them in late game team fights, since Bang isn't the type to usually fall very far behind in lane, even if he's on a difficult matchup.
And what I like about what SKT have done here in the draft is say, you know what, we can kind of build this really strong late game set of carries in the bottom half of our map. But we saw what Huni and Peanut were up to yesterday, particularly in their second game. They love to go a little crazy sometimes, particularly together, and they're set up to do that once again. Same combo, Rumble Lee Sin.
Yeah, the Rumble from Huni is always a fear. It's heavily banned in anywhere in the world that he goes. European, LCS, NALCS, and even in the LCK.
I feel like it's been pimped out now too. Like back in the day, he was a great Rumble player, but he's really evolved his defensive playstyle. It was such a satisfying way to see how in the finals versus KT, he was routinely dodging 3-man roams to the top side, weaving himself in and out of fights, no longer just YOLO to the back line, do as much damage as I can and die in the process. So he really matured as a player, and I want to see that come to fruition on this Rumble.
Source close to the LCK told me that he's probably the 3rd best Rumble. Unfortunately, Morin and Smeb happen to be in his league as well, but he is no slouch on the champion, that's for sure. SKT versus TSM about to start up here on the Summoner's Rift for the first time here in the MSI group stage. And TSM are all together with a Braum. I know what this means.
Yeah, really good invade champion on Braum, especially when you're playing with Exhaust. Exhaust much better than Ignite early on, but they have been spotted, and Bang backs out.
Yeah, TSM's actually ran this level 1 a few times in the play-ins of MSI, and it has yet to find success. Invading 4 down bottom, especially when they don't ward, actually just gives away a lot of intel. So you can notice that SKT easily push in to get the ward onto TSM's Raptors now, and TSM doesn't have a ward to match. So this actually lets Peanut have a pretty free start to his jungle as far as intel.
Yeah, but we're still living in a world where top laners generally end up leashing, so it gives not that much additional information, right? Generally, you can extrapolate what happened in the early game, especially if you look at like Lee Sin, probably not starting Raptors unless he gets a hard leash. Kha'Zix, prone to starting the Raptors very often. So while you get a ward, it's not like these teams at the highest level wouldn't have the info otherwise.
Yeah, not too many wards being put down, but every team should know what's kind of happening here. You can see top side. Raptors start for both junglers, actually. Peanut going to get some help by Fake. It does need a decent amount. Lee Sin not the best at going through. Kha'Zix should fare a little better.
Yeah, he goes a lot lower just starting Raptors as Lee Sin. So if you want to go for a high HP early gank, you need to do single target camps, you know, to really utilize a lot of that kit.
On the bottom lane, there's some trading happening. And finishing that camp up, looks like he's going to red. Peanut will see where he wants to travel after this buff. I imagine it's the right side for him as well.
And I wonder if TSM is just going to go for an early gank top. That feels like a way to break the mold here, because if you play super standard, eventually Phoenix is going to trace you.
Yeah, the trick with that is, since they didn't have the same type of ward at Raptors, Peanut can quickly go in. So this is exactly what TSM would have wanted to avoid as far as that ward going in early. Svenskeren does have options after doing Raptors, even though it's usually red. This is a confirmation for Peanut that he can go for blue, and he's going to try and sneak this out and easily gets it.
Yeah, he gets it, but the mirror is happening, which means right now the jungle is split vertically.
Yep.
But that's actually good for TSM, because they're playing on top side on a pushing lane in the Rumble, so I'm actually not sure if this is the invade from SKT. Pay off dividends.
Yeah, it makes it dangerous for Huni to be up there. That's actually why Peanut is fast tracking back towards that side of the map. He knows what the danger is.
So might get caught here. Let's see if Sven gets greedy. Going to move back down towards the wolves. We'll spot Peanut now. Q.E.'s going to hit.
And it's Peanut's only level 2.
Hard timeout.
Yeah, damage is there, but the red buff's helping. Svenskeren gets a bit of a heal, but now Faker going to track him. Huni down first here, and the stun's not enough. There's first blood for Faker.
Double buffs going over to Faker as well, and this was Svenskeren's Achilles heel throughout the split, is dying on an early invade.
Yeah, but just notice how fast Huni was there. Peanut, he lands the Q, holds for the maximum amount of time, but then commits. He knows all he needs to do is buy 2 or 3 more seconds for his side lanes to collapse.
Yeah, the collapse from SKT was near instantaneous because they had the pushing lane on the top side, which is also why when Svenskeren took the blue, he should have just fast-tracked it out of the jungle. The fact that he dilly-dallied around after getting blue and even allowed Peanut to land that Q is his fault, because after he kills blue, why is he going down to check?
Maybe he just feels like confident in the level advantage, but this is maybe where we analyze the invade from Peanut early, and he knows that he's been spotted, where then he knows, well, Svenskeren must be in my jungle, let's double collapse him, pincer him, and punish him, and maybe it was an all a trap set up by SKT here. Really great punish.
Well, great movement regardless by Peanut, and they are rewarded with double buffs and first blood here. Bjergsen going to struggle a lot more in the early stages of that matchup, as we see bottom lane still trading back and forth. Wolf not quite getting the passive proc, but CS nice and even to start it off.
That's the benefit of playing melee versus melee. It's much more likely to go even CS because it's much harder for you to kind of go for an all-in punish with these melee supports. However, they spike much harder on level 6, so that's where the magic happens.
The gank support that these guys can provide. Shen has pretty good teleport/alt presence at level 6 if we're thinking of that happening, but at this point, Bjergsen just has to survive this early game blue buff Orianna, because not only does he have the double buffs now, the timing is going to be, he's essentially going to go back to base right after his blue expires and pick up another blue, just because of the way the double buff transfer worked.
Peanut actually sneaking in towards mid lane. Might be trying something here, but Sven's also in as well. 2v2.
Peanut's perfectly there for counter gank.
Breaking out. Faker doesn't want to get stunned, but he's chasing Bjergsen back. Sven now going to get caught. Peanut
he's got no flash.
Just goes straight towards him. Slow going to hit. Q's going to move in as well. He hops out of the way, but Peanut's still tagged him. Does commit to the Q at the end, and now Sven's going to try and turn it back around in isolation, but Bjerg, he's not coming. Sven's got no help at all. There's another kill.
The patience from Peanut is just oh so beautiful.
It absolutely is. Right there, Peanut knows that Faker's been pushing. He needs to be there for a counter gank. And Peanut doesn't actually have high jungle proximity percentages, but he knows when he needs to be near his opponent, and he makes it count.
Yeah, that's why you need to dig deeper in that stat. Just because somebody's around the lanes a lot doesn't mean he's an efficient ganker. Peanut just really efficient in his pathing, clearing camps in between, but then showing up at the necessary moment. And that also speaks towards the communication from the other members. You need to be able to tell your jungle, do I need you now? Do I need you later? Just push out at me, or are you fine?
And I also have to call out Svenskeren for taking that specific jungle path, especially when your lane is behind. You don't need to come from that far back, because in the situation where the counter gank is there, he's just going to die.
Yeah, but that's because you get stuck in patterns. You're so used to ganking from behind the lane like that, because if it sticks, it's such a powerful gank. The problem is he's down a flash, and then you need to adapt. If you have flash in that situation, worst case when you get counter ganked, you use your flash if you're out. The problem is
exactly he doesn't have flash, so he has to take a different route.
He's not adapting to what actually happened in the early game, and that's one of the strengths for SKT. They will always adapt. Flash down, flash up. We saw Faker yesterday get spam ganked, and the man just microed his way out of it.
And that's the thing, 1,500 gold out now for SKT, and that's all just been a cascade of the early game. Peanut, intelligent pathing, moving back. The fact that Huni's pushing means that he can move down, and then the expected counter game, because Faker is pushing a lane that he would not be pushing if he didn't have double up. SKT, they know every situation already, and they play every little bit perfectly. Other than that, though, looks like an Infernal Drake is on the way, so 3 minutes for some more action, but CS looking good across the board here. SKT should be happy to sit on this little lead.
Yeah, they need to hang on right now. TSM's one way out is the level 6. Maybe for a forced play somewhere, combine the card control effects. Doesn't matter if somebody's far ahead. If he can never get the chance to even attack you, you can still eliminate them from the map.
Yeah, exactly. They have a little bit of a lack of damage in their overall team comp, especially if Bjergsen falls behind.
There's Bang. Oh, good off there from Faker. Bjergsen forced to flash out. Firefrost actually roaming up as well, so matching the bottom lane coming up. But now actually a push starting here for SKT, perhaps big wave and 4 members in mid.
Yeah, and this is what SKT always is. They get a fight and then they look at an objective, whether it's chunk on a turret or maybe they go for the dragon here. They always play in function of objectives, and I almost felt like this was the old school Dignitas style where you blow all your ultis and you get the dragon. It does look like they're going to forgo that Infernal Dragon and just focus on deep vision in the bot side.
Yeah, if they can gain control, again, of this side of the map. Remember, Hanzo doesn't have good push in the top lane on the Shen, so getting wards enables Huni to make more and more roams down into that side of the jungle, which also allows them to apply more and more pressure to mid lane. TSM is generally a team who plays through their solo lanes, and they're even invading the other side of the jungle.
They're invading both sides. They get their cake and they eat it too. They steal away the buff. Svenskeren under so much pressure right now.
And look how far back Turtle's playing. I mean, SKT just had this all lit up, and I just don't think Turtle knows how safe he could have been given where he was. Instead, he backs up towards his tier 2 turret, and SKT take everything off this play. I mean, if someone gets picked, they might even just take the dragon, but instead, looks like they will reset the map.
Yeah, and the Wolf hitting level 6 is also something we need to watch out for, because then you can, with that deep vision, you can use Abyssal Voyage to deliver Peanut behind lanes, maybe even gank Bjergsen now that his flash is down. And those map movements, where SKT is already so strong, they'll be even faster.
Yeah, you also just have to wonder how easily they can take Drake if they want to, but they're kind of slow playing it. They don't need an Infernal Drake to make anything happen. It's very advantageous with this team composition since Rumble is also an ability power user, but they're patiently just kind of biding their time and making sure they don't overcommit.
Bang looking again in bottom lane, goes invisible, but can't quite get an ambush down. 2v2's played, I think, just fine. Like you mentioned, Crepo, the melee supports kind of promote a little less action here.
Especially when you play versus a Shen. Like, you're not going to go all in on a Braum, Varus level 6 when they have Shen backup. So SKT is just taking it even because Twitch just scales so well into the late game.
And that does feel like where TSM is sitting now. Yes, SKT built themselves a very strong lead based on all their early play, but TSM, I think, leaning on those ultis and kind of waiting for the next fight to start. Whether that's around a Drake or the next invade that either team tries, we'll have to see. But right now, SKT in control. TSM, though, plenty of avenues to find themselves back in as Faker steals about all the Raptors but the big one.
Yeah, he just has so much control, and it's aided by the extra wards that they have. Here's that bot lane all in, though.
Oh, Wolf dies! He actually can't pop the Grey Health in the air! And now maybe a second stun is coming. Bang! Gonna get stunned up here as well. Invisible for a little while longer, but Bifrost tracking him. Turtle wants it all. He's gonna try and go for it, but not enough to tank the turret.
Peanut's coming. They'll have to be careful. What a fantastic all-in by TSM. They play around the Grey Health. He doesn't even get a chance to pop it, I believe. Pre-6 as well here. Yeah. TSM fighting back.
It looked like with the stun, either Wolf didn't press it or didn't have time to press it, but TSM was emboldened by the fact that Haunter does have Stand United during this, so SKT actually get a little bit over-aggressive. They exhaust Wild Turtle early on, but they don't get the damage through the Braum. Then the rest of it, it's actually a smart move there for TSM to focus the support early because of the burst, when often you're kind of told to only hit the AD in these situations.
Yeah, especially because he brings Devour to the party. That is the hard thing about laning against a Tahm Kench. Do I hit the AD carry? Now I hit Devour. Do I hit the support? Well, he has thick skin. Like, what do I do? But if you have this much crowd control, you can just one-shot him, and then the shield just blocks off any repercussions from Twitch. So that is really well played here by TSM bot lane.
Well, we mentioned their ultimates. Other things that can help them out. TSM's duo do come up with a kill for themselves. As you can see, Blade of the Ruin King now up for Bang, despite the loss in the lane.
The problem is it's never tied to a push into a turret or a rotation to an objective, because SKT, they put you under so much pressure that even when you fight a way out for just a little bit of breathing room, you can't capitalize on any big objectives.
Yeah, and here's the thing as well. Bang did the Longsword Potion start and has skipped boots, so he has the Blade of the Ruin King power spike. Even though Wild Turtle's a kill up and has 200 more gold, he still hasn't completed his Blade of the Ruin King because he did the Doran's as well as boot start. So TSM actually not having the power spike despite having the kill as they go for this Drake.
Gonna be proactive about it. Instead, Drake under 40% health, but Wolf kind of in the area. Everyone's collapsing it for SKT. TSM get the Drake, but can they get out alive? Gonna have to lead together. Bang looking for a flank. Also, ultimate's ready there for Wolf, but actually a pretty clean take there.
Yeah, pretty huge that they're able to get that without SKT collapsing. It looks like they timed it a little bit with Wolf coming back to lane. Now is the question of how much pressure can SKT get back, because TSM invested all the time with the Drake, moved back, they do not have the vision control, and they're slow kind of back to lane, so now there's a lot of pressure they've given up that they need to recover from.
It's always in a cadence. You push out, they have to defend, you take the objective, but meanwhile they push back. Now you're on a defensive, and they may be able to get something, whether it's deep vision, a roam, diving to Fog of War.
Yeah, and we're also getting pretty late into the game without seeing a teleport play or a Stand United. Huni and Haunter have just been kind of trading blows up here. Haunter doing a good job to keep himself healthy enough that he doesn't have to fall back, but look at that turret slowly getting chipped away. If anyone roams up there or anything goes wrong, that's first turret to SKT.
And that's why Rumble is such a good pick into Shen, because it's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts. You always push him in, and you tell him, you can help your bottom lane, but if you do, you will lose your turret. So at worst, you'll have an even fade right there, and snowballing the side lane matchup even more.
Uh-oh. Turtle can't see the Twitch. Bang gets a hit though. Tahm Kench coming in as well. Turtle pumps the ultimate. He does have no flash, but Bio gonna try and save him once again. Ultis get used. Wolf flashes into it. And that might be them getting away Faker, not there in time to dive. And now top lane, there's Span looping on a Huni, but a great flash gets him out over the wall. Gonna have to move around the equalizer though. Haunter gonna still move it down, but Peanut's here already. Kick back there from Peanut, gonna try and take down Haunter. Needs one more auto, finds it, and now Span caught out 1v2. Cannot win this. Peanut grabs a double kill.
Oh, Huni Houdini with the perfect flash. He disappears, and then Peanut comes in, and he saves the day. This is just outclassed by SKT.
Peanut is always in the right spot, and the 1,000th cut might come through in the bottom lane right here, because every single one of TSM's outer tier turrets is about to fall.
Well, there's a turret going down. That's one there for SKT, getting first turret gold. Maybe make it two here in mid with Faker, and the cannon creep is going to go down here. Bjergsen kind of pushing the top side, so they're only going to lose two, but that's a big swinging gold.
And just like that, we're 5,000 gold behind here so early in the game. It looks like Huni's caught out, and Svensson goes for the flash leap, knowing when the enemy's flash is still up here, because he wants to secure the hit as fast as he can. But this is fantastic flash position.
Yeah, another over-eager play by Svenskeren for sure. Huni doing a great escape, and Peanut always in the right place, but this is one of the problems that people saw for TSM coming into this tournament. They are a solo lane.
Wow, they're going in!
Turtle
Faker!
stuck for him.
Good shockwave, and now Turtle going to take damage from Bang. Stand United could keep him alive. Great situational awareness for SKT, and don't quite get a kill.
Being able to sneak in there because they have the right control wars, just another smart play by SKT, never letting you breathe. But they've lost total control of their jungle. And the main problem is for TSM is a solo lane team with an underperforming jungler who is getting completely exposed by SKT right now. There is very little, it feels like, the rest of TSM can do because they have no control where they need it.
Yeah, they found all their successes from strong laning in mid, strong laning in top, and then having them either move to their respective lanes. You know, Hanser to mid, Bjergsen maybe with Spencer and Ultra roam in the top lane, while their bot lane would just play pushing lanes and survive. But that style works domestically. Here, they're even in the individual phase, they're getting outplayed here. That flash from Huni showed that TSM did not go for the 100% play, because there is a world where if you use your flash and dash correctly on Kha'Zix, there is no escape possible for Rumble.
And it's not without trying as well. Bjergsen has been trying to get roaming towards the top lane as well. Got spotted before. So trying to get out of this one. Needs to not get stunned, but I don't think he's going to be so lucky. Oh, he gets out. Barely escapes the CC.
He's able to escape, but TSM doesn't gain anything for it. That's one of the things about the way SKT kind of makes these plays. They have such an advantage in map pressure. They have the freedom to go for those plays.
Yeah, but we also see while TSM is very much locked in this kind of 4-1, neither Syndra or Varus really want to play on the side lanes. The Tahm Kench offers a lot of relief in that sense for SKT. Twitch, yeah, he wants to be mid and assassinating lanes too, but having a Tahm Kench that could show up in side lanes to surprise and then put the lane pressure definitely helps more in that regard. And SKT, they will always have access to both their side lanes because that's how they win. They unlock objectives by constantly moving and pushing lanes.
Wolf going to chase Sven, but Sven's going to leap out of the way. Bjergsen now under fire. Faker and Peanut going to team up for this one. Ulti off. He's going to get him. Oh my goodness, that was max range. Bjergsen forced to burn the flash. Ulti from Huni. Oh, now Bjergsen maybe wish he ghosted earlier. Wolf's going to shut him down, and Huni grabs the kill.
And that's the thing. Even though they don't have reliable initiation, they have just enough initiation, and they know how to use it, and they'll always find the angle right there. Bjergsen burned both summoners in retreat, still fell. Another great play by SKT.
Yeah, there's a world where he flashes Faker's Shockwave, and he just lives and gets unscathed, because then there's not enough follow-up damage. The problem is it will look so close. But at what point do you not just blindly respect Faker? You know, if this guy is trying to Shockwave me, it's going to hit.
I thought it was going to miss, and I was very, very wrong. Huni now going to try and take this turret as well, and he's going to grab it. 3 turrets to 0 now. 5-1 up in kills for SKT. 6,000 gold and counting as they take a Rift Herald, or just want to get just on the edge.
That is one that I didn't expect that one to hit, but when it does pull him back.
If it wasn't Faker, I would say never flash.
Yeah.
The only reason I would consider flashing is like, this guy. Nah, I think he knows how to play mid lane. I'm gonna go for the safety flash.
Spells have more range and do more damage.
When you're Korean.
It's SKT Faker.
I mean, it is his most played champion of all time, so certainly knows the ins and outs. This Turtle and Bifrost trying to get something happening here in the bottom side. Bango able to clear that out nice and efficiently with an Infernal Drake up in 7 seconds. SKT looking for another tussle.
Yeah, because it feels like every time I look at the minimap, somebody from TSM is in base. They're constantly only playing the map with 4. Now somebody else is getting chunked out, so Turtle, even if he lives here, he has the base again.
Ooh, good stun actually onto Huni. Catches him out of the TP stance and onto Bjergsen. Going to try and shut it down. Ulti hits from Bifrost on the very end of the play, and there's the ult out. Haunter takes down Huni. Got a lot committed there, and now Peanut going to chase down Turtle. Kick at the ready. Peanut's going to buy his time. Doesn't even kick him, just slows him down and kicks him straight in the midsection.
Just enough for the kill. So yes, TSM is able to pick up a kill, but they still lose the overall trade as the Infernal Drake goes over.
Yeah, they're going to go back to the top side, get some top push here. Haunter needs to push that out, but it's too little at this point. We see SKT this far ahead, so what we can do now is just follow their map assignments and see how do you close efficiently. Because we've seen so many teams with large leads like this not push it to the extreme. And they're playing against the team in TSM that, while it drops some games, is still very dominant domestically year to year to year. And the fact that SKT can just make them look like this, like they're playing against lesser opponents, it's always so impressive.
Ooh, Faker actually another flash shot with that one hits as well. I will never not believe Bjergsen.
I saw in your face there was that little moment of doubt. It's like, nah, this time he's gonna miss. Nope, every single time.
Oh man, that one doesn't net the kill.
That one was
that was ambitious.
Yeah,
proving a point.
Yes, I think that's what it is. I think message definitely received there by Bjergsen as Sven moves up towards his top side. Has Haunter just in front of him, maybe looking to take down Huni once more and extend that into a push into a lane as well.
desperately trying to get back in the game. They're 7,000 gold down before 20 minutes. They have a chance.
There's a taunt. Hooney's got no flash, but he does have his ultimate. Hooney going to try and wiggle his way out of this one, but Sven getting burnt down. Never mind, there's an easy 1v2 kill, and Haunter might not even get this. That's the day to the top. He's going to flash forward and get it, but a trade there. That's just ridiculous.
But hey, there's more. This is what always happens when you get 1 kill on SKT. They chunk you. They send the cavalry.
Everyone's missing from the map right now for SKT. And it's safe. But you never know.
Yeah.
That's the fear.
That's the whole logic around counting dots on the minimap. Sometimes you don't even, like, could they be here? Could I have predicted? No, if they're all missing, you just walk away until you figure it out.
Well, we'll see this one again. Hooney, I mean, just too much damage here for the underleveled Svenskeren.
Yeah, gets the equalizer down, Svenskeren. He tries to walk straight away, but
He can flash out of it. That's maybe the only play. If he flashes outside of it and then kills Hooney who has no flash, he lives.
Saves the summoner spell, I guess. Does go down in the 1v1. Haunts now bottom side going to try and get pressure translated back that way. SKT just playing so well in all these lanes. You can see again, such dynamic movement around their lane assignments. Bang was sitting bot, taking farm consistently. Now he's back. Maybe because Haunter can go back down bottom and match the Shen.
Yeah, and at this stage of the game, it is all about just closing out as efficiently as possible for SKT. A lot of teams, as Crepo was mentioning, do struggle with large leads, especially when their composition doesn't have that super reliable initiation or no frontline tank.
That's a lot of damage. Peanut all in for the kill, but not going to get it. Turtle actually going to lock him up, and that's a mistake. Turtle going to grab some shutdown gold.
Hooney's on the other side of the map without teleport, so definitely over-ambitious from Peanut right there.
Yeah, they forgot they were playing against the Shen here. Despite seeing nerfs, Stan United is still good enough to locate or relocate him to another side of the map here. They do trade one guy for now pressure in the bottom lane, so if they can keep the lanes pushed somehow in this 5v4 map scenario, they can capitalize again, but at least they slow down.
Well, TSM at least are getting picks here and there, but it's not converting to anything more. Faker again with another big shockwave trying to look when Peanut just thinks he can do it.
Yeah, about 700 health on that Shen ultimate. It is more effective when you ult a low health target now.
But it caps out at 40%, so there's no difference between 40, 30, or 20, and luckily a single QW from Faker puts Svenskeren on 40% anyways.
Perfect. Max health Shen is just about efficiency.
Yeah, it's all about efficiency. Sven knew.
Yeah, he calculated that one for sure. As Hooney now back down to this bottom side. Teleport almost back up, so that play might look a little easier for Peanut. If he does want to go back in, Turtle on the top side. Very unsafe place to farm, but he does need the gold. And there's Tom Kench. This is why Peanut now in for him. He's got the ultimate ready, but I don't think he needs it one more time. Kicks him just for good measure, and there's another kill for Peanut.
And this is not a Turtle mistake. If you want to play this style with Virus on the side lane, you got to play 1-1-3. You got to have your support and your jungler shadowing your AD carry if you want to get side lane pressure. So this is a team shot calling mistake, I feel, from TSM. Obviously, impossible in this situation, but so often you see an AD carry die on a side lane, it's like, you're overextending. Nah, not with this comp. Then you need help.
It really depends on how they expect the AD to get farm if they want any chance to get back into the game. That situation, though, it's one of those things. In which way would you like to lose? Would you like to lose trying to get farm, or would you like to lose by never going for the farm? And neither option is good.
The 2 items for Turtle's looking okay. Bang, I think, is pretty close to his second, and probably another half on top of that. In general, TSM pretty far behind on itemization, but they do at least have first major items completed. And Peanut caught again here. One more order for the stun. There's the order for Bifrost, going to combo it straight in. Have enough damage, maybe, no, not quite. Peanut tagged again, but Bang in reserve, and that was an easy-looking ward off.
Yeah, they were not covering the escape paths necessarily after they got that one Braum stun. Not the most foresight in a lot of the TSM plays this game.
They're trying, but at this point, the damage has been done here. SKT rotating mid lane. Hooney now has the push in the bottom lane. Faker with the poke.
Good ulti, gets Wild Turtle down low. Svenskeren going to get Sand United on his Peanut. Tries to chase him down. Turret low. Haunter has to move out of the way, and I think SKT will just stay for the siege.
Yeah, I mean, they just want a 4v5 in the mid lane. So Hooney hasn't had to leave this bottom lane at all. Shen ultimate down, so the global presence of Shen.
Yeah, they win a 4v5 without even committing. They never send in their members. They just burn cooldown after cooldown after cooldown. So eventually, TSM know that they can't face Ignacio anymore, and that's when they pivot.
Yeah, not to mention they still have the insurance of Bang's Twitch. He hasn't really been a factor this whole game, but he's still continuing to farm up and will be getting his crit items pretty shortly. So doesn't get any better for TSM.
Oh, Bjergsen now in trouble, forced to flash out of the way. Good ulti plus cast combo there from Huni and Bang. Now Biofrost in the front line's getting burnt down by Huni. Peter carries it all the way in, kicks Scaring for the execute. And SKT move forward. Huni, Flash Flames Bitter in to take down Biofrost. Turtle going to be the next target. Needs to dodge the harpoon. Gets nailed by one. Bang chasing it, flashes under the turret to try and get the dive down. He's going to be able to take it. Huni grabs the double. A kill on the other side for Haunter, but SKT piling on top of TSM. Haunter Torn dashes out of the way, but SKT still want more. There's the shockwave back. Haunter low, shut down by Pino. And there's just not enough they can do here. Great zoners by Huni to avoid the damage from Bjergsen. Bjergsen going to try for one kill, but not even going to get that.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit absurd with SKT right now. Just funneling everyone into the base and suffering very few consequences right there.
Yeah, that was like a conga line of pure destruction and outplay. We were talking about, like, we haven't really seen Bang here so far. He goes in, gets 2 kills, flashes the 3rd skill shot, lands all the pressure, and suddenly it's him creating space for the rest of the team. While usually it's actually SKT playing so forward that Bang can go uninhibited and get the highest damage output. He's constantly crushing records.
Yeah, Bang probably felt left out. Yeah. He was 0-0-1. They've been winning. They're up 10,000 gold. He's like, guys, come on, let me do something, please. So
yeah, and when you listen to clips from SKT in the LCK, sometimes they're not talking about how do we win. They're discussing like the MVP. Like they all want to get that MVP award because winning is just so natural to them already.
Yeah. Not the greatest jump over the wall right there, but Peanut finishes up. And then watch Bang right here. He has flash and heal up. Turtle has flash as well. Haunter's right there, but he flashes forward away from the taunt. So that wasn't just a pure aggression flash forward. That was, in a sense, a bit of an efficiency flash forward because he was able to dodge out of the taunt. Still died, though, because he was flashing ahead of the rest of his team.
Yeah, in the team play manner, that was the perfect play to make because the team gets more advantages than the cost, which is the life of just your AD carry, but very rarely is that the case. That's why generally people tell your AD carry to not flash forward.
Well, TSM maybe looking to have one last stand here around the Baron. You can see the sheer amount of damage that Huni in particular was able to dish out in that long extended base turret dive. Don't see that one too often, but that's what happens when a team is 10,000 gold plus and very, very good. SK Telecom showing off in all manners here at MSI.
Yeah, if the game was a little bit closer, we could see a banner of command on Biofrost and send that down the lane with Haunter, and with their powers combined, they could actually outpush Huni. Sadly, that's not the case right now. Just that gargantuan lead here by SKT.
In general, Huni getting, Haunter getting chunked out by almost everyone, and SKT just going to start a pretty straightforward Baron. Teleports are up. TSM can try and fight for this if they want to. Baron is burning low already. Sven might just have to try for a steal.
Yeah, that's about all they have. He's already popped his ultimate to try and go invisible. Here we try.
They're looking for it, but they stop damage pretty quickly. No, it gets low, but Bang secures it. Bang going to go down to Peanut. SKT going to get it all here. Huni straight over the wall. Tugs go down, actually. Playing a little too aggressive with his teleport, but Peanut chasing in, lands a Q on Bjergsen. Going to shut him down for the double kill. Peanut does get ulted on the other end, but it's just so much damage. Bang slays the backline. SKT going to work on the last remaining member, and Haunter dead, as there's the ace for SK Telecom.
Yeah, fighting a risky 50-50 is all TSM could do. It was actually quite close. Could have maybe worked out, but in the end, SKT, after taking the Nashor, they just clean up the team fight.
Yeah, as far as the Baron itself, that was not a good Baron secure play, but SKT was so far ahead, they were going to take the kills and the fights afterwards because they had wards behind TSM, so if they move up for the steal, Huni had planned to teleport in after to get the fight.
Not much of a 50-50 when the enemy jungle is 3 levels ahead of you and your whole team is 12,000 gold ahead. Inhibitors going to be falling everywhere. TSM in time to maybe see their base crumble.
But it was Faker picking up the Nashor, so the levels didn't matter in the end, unless they coordinated their burst here. But yeah, this was the one shot for TSM to get back, so they had to take it. Even if they get whitewashed here, if you give SKT a Baron at this point, it is over, because it was already over.
Yeah, I mean, you actually rarely even see 18,000 gold leads in games. That's what we're at right now. You watch Sven. It's about 1,800 where the Baron tries to get bursted down. Watching it very closely.
Smites early.
Smites early at about 1,100. Peanut actually never smoked. Faker just bursted a little bit after Sven smited at 1,100.
The team call was from SKT to keep it at like 2.5k and then contest, deny vision long enough to force Sven to jump in and then kill him. This is actually what you can do in these seemingly 50-50 situations because the DPS completely stopped. The problem is Bjergsen committed with QE and Bramulti was coming in. It would have actually put it in Smite steal range. It was just not fast enough.
Well, a good attempt at red buff Twitch. Yeah, that's an easy kill. Bang picks up a third for himself, finally getting himself a few kills in the column. But SKT playing with the field a little bit here, just going to walk the super minions in.
Yeah, that's what's most likely going to happen. You could do the full 3 inhibitor take, but they most likely don't need to with Baron on 4 members. Peanut is walking in the minion wave, but SKT
Good cleanse. Bjergsen flashes in to try and make that happen. Bang going to get ulted in. Sven, look for the execute. Oh my god, he disappears and Bjergsen goes down as well. SKT now going to flash it forward. Bifrost chase back to the fountain. Faker all the way in. Look for the shockwave. Grabs it, taking the fountain laser. And SK Telecom undefeated once again with so much style.
And even though this game says it was over at 28 minutes and 58 seconds, it was over long before that. SKT had so much control of the map pretty much since Faker got double buffs 3 minutes into the game, and they never let you recover from your mistakes. Another great display by SKT.
Yeah, we saw against G2 Esports how even when behind, it feels like they're playing with so much pressure. They only need one opening, and that was a surge. Immediately, they were 5,000 gold ahead, and then they were showing how you could really control the map. Big fan of that Baron, because I think getting a pure solo Baron where nobody contests in this day and age is very hard to achieve. So putting it on like 3,000 gold, in theory, I'm becoming a really big fan of those plays where you're strong enough to tank it for a while, force it to jump in, kill them, as long as you keep it high enough so they can't burst down themselves.
Well, specifically when they also have the wards behind. And even though Huni didn't get off the best flank because he got CC chained before his Zonias, he did buy time the rest of SKT to pile in for the fight. So any way you slice it, even if they don't freeze the Baron long enough and somehow Sven Skaren gets the smite, SKT still wins.